Ew.
I don't even know if it's green yet. We'll see.
No, we'll see. It goes from red to green quite fast, so we'll just wait and see.
Pretty much.
It will be there soon. It will be there soon.
Oh, make sure I've got everything all set.
Actually, I have a feeling we are already here, are we now?
Oh, wait. I think we are.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we're live, aren't we?
We are. I can see it. It looks live. Yeah.
Why do I hear myself twice?
Are you hearing yourself twice? Is it coming
Yes,
from
I
your
am.
end or is it coming from my end?
I don't know. I muted myself here, but I can still hear myself afterwards.
Anyone in the chat can hear Roger twice, because I don't know why. I've got, unless I've, nope. I've got nothing open that should be playing. But let me just check all my windows. That is weird.
Oh.
No, we just started.
It's echoing in Discord for some reason. Why is it doing that?
That is so weird. I don't know. In Discord, you say?
Well, it has to be, because I just took away the YouTube just to see if it was that.
Try talking. See what happens.
It's absolutely
something changed, because like my settings seem to be the same. You sound fine. I can't hear myself.
It's absolutely horrible, to be honest.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The chat is saying you don't sound twice; they're hearing you once. So
yeah, but the thing is, I can't even collect my own thoughts, because it's like.
Do you think it's those headphones? I've never seen those before. Are those new?
No, old. I just changed.
Okay. I'm not sure it is, because it means the chat is here. You know what? You continue talking. I'm gonna play it back on my phone and see if I'm hearing.
It could be through OBS Studio. I think something is unmuted or something from
my end.
Yeah. I mean, it's through OBS Studio. I don't know. It's just looping for me.
It's not.
I've never heard this before. Oh my god.
According to the chat, they're hearing you once though. So then wouldn't they hear the loop as well?
Are you playing? Are you having maybe you need to mute have you muted the stream?
It's muted. It's always muted. Like the YouTube thing that pops up, that's muted. Yeah. Just let me test it on my phone. Give me a sec. You can continue talking so I can hear it.
That's so weird, my friends. By the way, even though I hear myself talking twice with some 3 seconds delay, I hope you guys are fine. Very much welcome to That Beautiful Life podcast, episode 221. But it's, there we go. Interesting start for sure. This hasn't happened before, so I don't really know what it is.
It's not the stream song's perfect. Like on so everyone who's listening to it, so you sound perfect. It's weird. How are you hearing yourself?
Yeah, I hear us like a few seconds after.
Wow, everyone a delay. That is weird. I can't think what it is. If you checked all your windows, like make sure nothing's open everywhere on your computer. Make sure there's not a phone under the desk. That's
I have no idea what's going on right now.
Oh my god.
Could we restart the stream and see if that helps it, or
restart the stream?
Something is wrong. Like this is not as it is. I mean,
what about if we check this? What if we drop Discord and then drop back in? Because I don't think it's a stream, because the stream is fine, because everyone's hearing you fine and hearing me fine with no loop. So I don't think it's OBS. I think if it's anything, it will have to be Discord. So let's restart the call and see if that fixes it. Okay.
Exactly. We should do. That's a good idea. Okay.
All right. Give me a sec. I'll end it. Yeah. I'll end it. Sorry everyone. You can still hear me, of course. So unfortunately, we're having technical difficulties. So I'm gonna call Rog back. Let me make sure my settings are set properly. It could be my end, it could actually be that I've got looping audio, because the audio Rog hears comes from my mic, my headset. Excuse me. I don't think it could be that though. See. See if it's calling him. Roger?
Yes, I'm here.
Is it better?
No, I'm still hearing you afterwards. Like you were still on, even though we disconnected. How is that even possible?
Then that means there has to be, it means that there's something on your computer that's playing the podcast. You need to check all your tabs, bro.
What the frick? No, I haven't changed anything. It's exactly the same settings I
here's
have
what
always.
Here's what we're gonna have to do. You restart your PC and then see if it fixes it.
Yes.
So I'll keep the stream running, and you restart your PC.
This is super weird.
I think you restart your PC. Call me back when you restart the PC. Okay.
Yeah, I will do that.
All right, cool.
Imagine having 2, 4, 3 Roger and Cube talking at the same time in the head. It's like absolutely.
Don't worry, we got this.
Okay, I'll try to do that.
All right, I'll be waiting. All right, guys. So, should I have just left the? No, I'll just leave it as you guys can't see me. Unfortunately, I think you're just gonna be seeing my wallpaper, unfortunately, until Roger comes back. I would put up my camera so you can see the camera, but unfortunately, it makes no sense to put up the camera at the moment because of the fact that, yeah. But what I'll do is while we wait for Roger to call me back, let's have a chat with everyone in the chat. Let's see what if you guys have any questions or anything you guys want to discuss before we go in. And once it's not podcast related to anything that we're going to talk about later. So that question about Star Wars, Nalu's going to have to wait. But yeah, what a start of a fun stream. Definitely. It's so strange. It's the strangest thing ever. Like, would never have guessed it. You are picking your nose now. I'm not picking my nose, but I do have a lot of phlegm in my nose, so I'm sort of like blowing it. I've got a rag here. So I'm trying to keep it like because no one's watching. Nah, I wouldn't do something like that when no one's watching. But yeah. It's a chill afternoon. It's nice and chill. Waiting on Raj to come back. I honestly think Raj may have had a tab open somehow that's playing it because if we ended the call, he should have no way of hearing the podcast, like 0% because of the fact that the call ended. But he said he was still hearing it, which would have meant some tab on his computer, maybe because one of the things that happens sometimes when you open your browser, right? Essentially, some browsers will save your tabs. Essentially, like depending on how your settings are set. And what I'm thinking may have happened is Rog may have had an open tab from a previous podcast episode, and it may have just been there, just waiting. I don't know if it's possible, because he may have opened it just to like keep a track of the podcast to make sure everything's running smoothly. And it may have just been playing in the background. That's the only thing I can think of because there could be no other reason why if we end the call, he should be able to still hear me because that's just strange. But that's fine. It's a technical stuff. Technical things happen all the time. I mean, we've been doing this for a while, but at the same time, things happen. Even though we've been doing it for a while, we're both human and, technical stuff happen. Joseph Rich. Hi guys. Are you talking spoilers? I think we will. I think that so essentially Roger is the one who's watched it. I haven't seen the Acolyte yet. If we're talking about Star Wars, yeah. I haven't seen the Acolyte yet. Roger has. I will ask him to like share as much as possible with regards to it. I'm waiting for Roger to come back because he's restarting his PC. But I expect him to talk about spoilers of it because it's something I'm interested in checking out, but I don't know what it is about yet. I know what it is. Stream was played in my Discord when it comes to link. Send I did send you the link. That is true. Always mute, but not this time apparently. So yeah, I knew it had to be something weird like that. I'm just waiting for Roger to call me back. It's just a missed call. Last 2 minutes ago, Rog called me back and I didn't accept the call. You see, these things happen, man. These things happen. Rog, I'm calling you back. If you see this, welcome back, bro. How are you?
Welcome. Do you know what it was?
I read the chat.
Yeah. This has never happened before. You send me a link so I can share it too. And nema problema, but for some reason it started to play. And it's up in the feed in my Discord, so I couldn't even see it. So I didn't understand what it was. It was just feedback all the time. Like, it was absolutely impossible to hear what we were saying or even what I was thinking when I was trying to answer you. I was absolutely hilarious.
It happens.
Oh my God. It's completely trash. Hello, Nalu, by the way, and Misay and Oren and everyone. I hope you guys are fine. And sorry for that. This is the first time that has happened ever. I have never experienced that. But that's interesting. Autoplay, just like that. Thank you, Discord.
Also, welcome to Joseph. Is it Ricky? Who's in the chat?
Look at that.
I think they're asking about. I don't know if it's a he or she.
It's not shame on me. I didn't do anything.
I think they were asking about are we going to talk spoilers about the Acolyte? And I just want to give you a heads up. When we do get to that point in the podcast, feel free to spoil the thing. I'm not worried.
Polish rock.
But this podcast does have a format. For those of you who are new here, it does have a format. We will. I have a major spoiler for episode 1 to 3. Roger, how many episodes have you seen of the Acolyte before we get to that? We haven't
when I decided, what I would talk about when it comes to TV, I had seen the 2 existing ones. They might have added a third one yesterday, but that I haven't seen. So I've seen 1 and 2.
Okay, so out of respect for Rog, feel free to keep your spoilers up to episode 1 and 2. After that, but generally, for those who don't know the format, if you're new to the podcast, the format is we talk a bit about our lives and what we've been up to. And then we jump into film or video games. We just sort of jump between either or. I think since there seems to be interest in talking about film today, I think we'll just jump straight to film first and then we'll do the games after. But yeah, Rog, we're supposed to do an intro, aren't we?
Yes.
Shall we still do it?
An intro without me having 2-3 Roger and Q's in my head at the same time. Kind of definitely messing up my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, that aside, very much welcome. Yes, we started a bit earlier even today. Look at that now. It's episode 221 of That Beautiful Life podcast. This is Roddy Bergsten talking all the way from Stockholm, Sweden. And as I said, I hope you're having a good day so far, wherever you live in the world. And as always, here we are. A bloke from Sweden, a bloke from Trini, but the Trini bloke is living in the Reading. It's a beautiful UK. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I've had some good days. I've had some bad days.
Tell me about it. Let's do this.
I think this week has just been up and down. If I had to say, I've had good days where it's just been pretty smooth sailing and not too bad. I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but I lost my job. And I've had to sort of deal with that sort of aspect of life. Now, at the end of the day, it is what it is, such as life. These things happen. But I've had to deal with that aspect of things. And essentially, just to give those of you who didn't know what I did, I worked as a marketing manager for, essentially when I applied for the role, it was for one company. So the company is known as Platinum Services in the UK. It's a company that helps people who want to go to university. It helps them get into university, essentially. It's sort of like an agency that helps people with the whole process of applying to university. And when I started the job, I got to find out that it wasn't just one company, it was actually 2 companies. And with potential to manage the marketing for a third. And I still said, yeah, I think I can handle it. Let's go. But as you guys know, my personal life has gotten a bit chaotic over the past couple of months. And because of that, it meant that I have not been able to sort of manage such a role that requires so much of me. And I think it's a role where it's for someone who has no family, has no other responsibilities, because the expectation, it seems, of what the company executives are looking for is someone who it's going to be their life. They're going to live that for that company and that company only. And which is a bit difficult to do, especially when the salary is not at the level that you would expect for managing marketing for 2 companies. And when I started, I think I was a bit naive at the I guess the level of responsibility that came with the role. because I was thinking, hey, you know what, I can handle it. I've got this, blah blah blah, and so forth. But as time went on, I got to understand that it required more. Excuse me, and especially because of the fact that there was a lot of what I wanted to do and what they wanted me to do. So this is a company that what you would consider to be, I guess, a startup, because it's not a massive company, not a big conglomerate or anything like that. It's a type of company that is, I guess, it's a family-owned business sort of thing, because it's a group of brothers who own it, essentially. Yeah, right. You know, like their family are all intertwined in this business, and essentially, you know, I didn't realize how much control they still had in what they wanted to do with regards to their marketing. So we would have a meeting and we discuss something that I wanted to do. And then we'd have a conversation with some of the rest of the team, and then they decide, no, let's do something else, you know, kind of thing. So it was constantly in flux. Things changed a lot. And, you know, at first it was sort of like, whew, it's kind of tight. But in the end, it just sort of became really, really challenging to sort of like maintain that role, especially considering the fact that Alex wasn't here. The kid, you know, the kids had school. Ty was being Ty, and it just became really, really complicated bit by bit, day by day. It just got it became unmanageable for me. And in the end,
it's also a long trip for you. Sorry, it's a long trip.
It was. So I had to travel to another town from here. Sometimes I was working on the weekends. It was relentless, essentially. And at the end of the day, I don't blame anyone for it. It was my decision to choose to take a role like that. But again, a lot of the things that happened wasn't planned. So if certain things didn't happen with regards to certain personal life stuff that happened at the time, it probably would have been manageable for me to manage it for a lot longer. But I think inevitably at some point I probably would have hit a point where I was like, you know what, I do maybe want to step away. And it started to happen more as I realized that I wasn't in a management role. I was in sort of like an executive role. I was manager in name only, and a lot of the decisions were made just by the heads of the company as to what they wanted. And I just had to go with it, you know. So even if I said, hey, let's do this, they would say, nah, that's not going to work. You know, I remember a good example was, I remember one time I posted, we just started, this was like my first week. And what I decided to do on their social media was just to post sort of like updates on my daily commute towards, to work on their social. And a bit of that was me cycling and stuff like that. So I recorded some footage of me cycling, and I added a bit of a inspirational quote onto there and so forth. Because the thing when it comes to social media is that you want to keep people engaged and you want to give people something that will keep them coming back. The rest of it is marketing. But if you just keep saying buy, you know, you're trying to sell them something, people sort of leave. So my idea was to just sort of give people a bit of an inspirational sort of boost in the morning. And essentially, I remember coming to work, and the CEO comes in and he's like, yeah, that's not gonna fly you, like, can't post that on the social, that's not what our base is interested in. And I said, okay, cool. then and then I think like about a month later or something, he's like, oh, Q, you post all these nice things on your personal, why don't you post on the, because I still post stuff like that on my personal. It's like, why don't you post it on the company accounts? And I'm just thinking to myself, like, but I was doing that. You told me not to.
Exactly. You were told not to, if I get this correct. So,
and it was a sort of thing whereby, you know, working in, so essentially it was, again, manager in name, not in you know, like execution as to how I was doing things, essentially.
Yeah.
And look, if you wanted to hire me as a coordinator, just tell me you will hire me as a coordinator. Don't tell me this is a manager role and then I'm being managed, essentially.
Exactly. That's the difference.
Because then it makes you second guess what you do. Every time you're about to do something, you're thinking, oh my God. And I think the thing is, when you're a creative person as well, and you're in a role and you have to make a decision, but then you're second guessing yourself every time because you're thinking, what if they don't like that? What if they don't like that? You get to a point where you're at a point where you don't feel like doing anything, where you're I guess I wouldn't say the word, but maybe scared to make a decision, because you're thinking, if I make this decision, is this going to lead to some sort of issue, you know? And
you get cautious. You think twice, and it kind of slows down also the pace of your work, everything. And I think that's unfortunately sometimes quite a common situation. I have experiences when it comes to the organization that we belong to when it comes to Chromata. We were very self-dependent, but I know the people working in the organization because it was very much like a pyramid. It was the boss here, even though we're in Sweden, usually have very flat organization, if that makes sense. But this was quite like this. So even though the producers under like the manager, so to speak, even they had their how do you say their mandate to actually do certain things, he was still there all the time. Yeah, how is this going? How are you doing this? It's not gonna work. It's gonna be hard in the long run to get like good results doing that. I believe you have to trust and delegate, and okay, you do this now. See you at the end of the week later,
Pretty much. And I think that but I understand where it's coming from, because obviously it's, again, like a new business in the sense of how long it's existed. And I guess in a sense, the owners, it's like their baby. When you want to be you want to be careful with everything. You want to be involved in every bit of the business. But like you say, when you're so involved, it causes I guess it causes your if you bring in someone to take on a role such as like a manager role, I think the thing is you just give them the role, and just, if they sink or swim, it's on them. It's like, look, you've got because that's the whole point of a probationary period. When you start a job, you go through a probationary period. If you're not good at the job, then they fire you. And then that's just it. But generally, that's kind of what it entails. I'm not, and this is the thing, like me saying this, sharing this aspect of it is not me trying to, I guess, call out the company for any wrongdoing or anything like that. It's just me sharing.
I don't think you're doing that. You're not doing that either. This is, it's just explaining your perspective and everything. It's always,
Yes, definitely. It's just me sharing a bit of my experience working in such an establishment, and I don't like. I when I left, it wasn't like any bad feelings. No. I communicated. I wished everyone the best. I spoke to everyone and wished and said goodbye to them on a nice note. And Ace Breaker, British, yes, it's British. I left on a good what I would consider to be good terms with everyone in the company. It just wasn't the right, I think at the time of how everything worked out, and especially because of my personal life and everything that was going on, it just wasn't the right fit. It wasn't the right fit for them. It wasn't the right fit for me. So in the end, the decision was made, and I was out the door. Generally speaking, I would say, would I have done it? Would I have taken such an opportunity again? Yes, because I think I learned a lot in the role. I think the networking was great, and I think I learned a lot from being there. I think seeing because I think one of the things in life is that with failure you learn how to, like, what not to do and how to succeed. So despite the fact that things didn't go according to plan, I'm not really, like, I'm still in a good mental state. And I think what helps me as well is that I do have a wonderful family that's very supportive, and they're there for me. And I do have a small but very close friend group that's also very supportive. And then you guys as well are also amazing and supportive as well. So for me, like, I think maybe the first day, and when I came home from it, I was happy. Like, I came home and I told my family. I think I called them, and they were also worried about me. They're like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "I'm great. Like, honestly, I'm so great." And I came in, I turned on the Xbox, I played some eFootball. I just sort of chilled. I was like, "Yo, swear!" Like, I was just so happy to sort of like not have that level of anxiety that I was feeling from, if I do this, is this gonna cause an issues? That if I do that, that's gonna cause an issue and so forth. Yeah. So I sort of had a sort of like just feeling of bliss. And I think someone said to me, when one door closes, another opens, and exactly. Sometimes when something happens, we feel like it's so bad, like it's the worst thing that could ever happen. But if that didn't happen, we wouldn't get to the great thing that could potentially happen. You know, it's
exactly
sound cost versus opportunity cost. So that's basically my work thing. But I've basically just spent the last week or so just sort of again, I do need a job, so I've been job hunting again. But at the same time, it sort of made my brain sort of click where I've decided, you know what, I am gonna get back into sort of like working properly on Simply Binge and the content I create for YouTube, and I think I streamed that week last week as well. So I want to get back into the stuff that I was doing, like the creative side of me, that really, I guess the experience of going through that with work made me really think about that and start to consider, I think I really want to get back into that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working on putting that back, on putting things back together. At the same time, looking for something new, and that sort of like job hunting has been pretty smooth. It's been pretty good. I went to a job fair today. That was exciting.
Okay.
There's a lot of good potential opportunities coming from that as well. So that was wonderful. It was a really, really good thing. Me and my brother-in-law went together and we just had a chat with some people, and
Nice.
it's just to sort of like sort through all of that stuff and make a decision as to which particular role I'm looking for. But at the same time, it means that what I take now is going to be something closer to home, which I'm so excited for.
Yes.
It was brilliant working in Oxford, but I'm so happy to be working closer to home again. So all of those things, everything's sort of like happening. But you know, I have good days, I have bad days. I think we all do. And generally, I'm happy for the most part, and it's been great. I think yesterday I was sort of like sitting down and I was just feeling a bit down, and my sister came in and she sort of gave me like a kick up the keister. You know, she just sat there. She came and sat right in this chair, and I was sitting on the bed, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm just not feeling too good." And you know, she was like, "Look, listen to me, right?" And my sister, she has this sort of like serious version of herself. She's like, "Listen to me, right? You need to get up." And you need to get stuff done, and you need to get out of this thing. No excuses, blah blah blah. And she gave me she had a full go at me. And I think the thing with my sister is that I have so much respect for her and I think the reason for that is because of the history we have together. You know, like I grew up with my sister, and when we were younger, she was kind of like my second mom in a sense, because she was responsible. So mom left her in charge of us, even though she's like 1 year older than me. Mom left her in charge a lot. And it meant that, you know, throughout the years, she's been like a second mom. She's been my sister. She's been my best friend. She's been a villain. we've been through it all. You know, and so you know, whenever she sees me like doing something that's nonsense, she'll call me out on it with no holds barred. And she did that. And similarly, I do the same for her. Like I'll tell her it as it is, you know. I'll just like, look, I don't like what you're doing, and this is it, you know. I don't like, and other people would probably be like, oh no, you gotta be gentle with her, Q. No, don't want to hear that. Nope. You know, like my older brother sometimes says like, you need to be a bit more gentle. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to hear that. Ain't nobody but no gentle. She needs to know she's doing the wrong thing. But I think that's because we've built that sort of relationship over the years. And so we, you know, I don't have that relationship with most other people, because most other people I have to be cautious as to what I say with them. With my sister, I don't. And with me, she doesn't either. She will give me it as it is. And Raj, I don't know if you have a relationship with anyone like that. I'm assuming you do. Do you? Do you have anyone you have a relationship?
Yeah, I think I do. In many ways, I consider you to be one of those friends, to be honest.
True.
I think you and I mean, you're like a brother to me in many ways. I mean, we have been talking, how long have we known each other? Is it like 8-9 years? I don't know. It's a long time.
It's long, yeah. It's been ages. You've told me off so many times, to be honest. I just have to sit here like, yes,
yeah, but it's, you know, it's true. We've had those conversations, especially, well, off stream. Mostly,
yeah, obviously.
Of course. Obviously. And I think it's great because, you know, you need that. It's one thing to talk. I mean, great that you have that relationship with your sister. And I do feel I can talk about more or less everything with my sister, even though, I mean, she's like 5 years older than me. But at the same time, it's also good to have, you know, someone, whoever that might be out of the how do you say, daily life kind of family thing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you don't see your sister like that any longer, but she's your sister still. And I'm again happy that you can do that. So with that said, just saying that it's good to also have like a friend or two that you can sit down and talk about things, very open-hearted. And as you said, you don't have to think, you don't have to choose your words, if that makes sense. You can just say, I hate it, or whatever. You can be very frank and very, honest, and you don't really have to think about consequences or anything, being polite or nothing like that. You just you just spew it out,
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. We all need that, I would say. I think it's one of those things in life that is absolutely crucial, because as you said, I mean, initially, you've had good days, bad days. That's how it is, you know. We bounce a bit back and forth all the time, I think, in this roller coaster that it's called life. And it's really, really hard to know what's around the corner. I think that's once again just points out that it's so important to enjoy all the moments, so to say, the small moments as well, when you're having a good time and you feel good, and maybe slow down and start to just embrace that moment and take it to your heart.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think I like that part that you said. It's always great when it's someone that you don't have to sort of like someone away out of your close family bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
That you can just sort of like, because I think that's the whole thing about therapy, isn't it? Like you go to someone,
yeah.
It's someone who's not like directly sort of locked into your day to day.
Exactly. I mean, that can be even how do you say? Well, let's put it then like a third kind of line of defense almost. No, not really. Advice and I mean, I think I told you when we had problems with the group back in the days, the ensemble, the music ensemble that I played in, and we actually went to a professional therapist because we did that. There was an initiative from one of my colleagues. At first we were like, well, we're really going to do that. We don't need it. But that was really, really good. That was the first time I sat down and talked to someone that was like professional, looking in my eyes and said, so Roger, how do you feel about this?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And then you have to start really to think, how do I feel about this? And you almost get surprised when you hear yourself talk, almost as if you go have like an outer kind of astral projection kind of experience, seeing yourself. Oh, I'm saying this. Interesting. I might have been thinking about it, but I've never said it.
Yeah.
But now I do, you know? So I think we shouldn't be afraid of stepping out from our bubble of like feeling maybe a bit uncomfortable about these things. I'm not saying that we are, but some people might feel that, I'm not going to do that. I talked to my friend, and that can be okay. That can be enough. But I'm just saying that taking that step even further sometimes, as also couples do, for example, in a marriage, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That can definitely break the ice or make it possible to, reach further. It could be your individual wellness or whatever have you, but it's a good thing.
It is indeed. So that's kind of been it. And in response to Ace's question, yes, it did give me some time to play some Sky. I did actually play Sky during the
awesome.
the time. Yes, I told people I won't be answering any Sky related questions unless it's on HBMP, but since Ace is here and I feel like I feel so in such a good mood, I will say yes, I did play a bit of Sky. So, but cool. Generally it's been good. I've been it's been pretty chill. I've tried to see how much, because I know like Alex has to leave again pretty soon. Try to see how we can spend time together. The days go by, things happen, other things, you have responsibilities as well. And also I think I got sick. I had a fever. That's the reason why we didn't do podcast last week. I had a cough and I ran a mid fever. I ran a 6 mile race. I got this medal from it.
Oh my God.
So
cool. Huh?
Mid sickness, I was like, I signed up. I called. So I didn't actually sign up on time. I think I was late. And
bro, I saw the pic. You posted something on, was it on Facebook? Maybe more than that, but I think I saw it on Facebook, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did post something on Facebook of either I think I posted on Facebook, and I think I posted on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
So I was running. Your boy went running. It wasn't a good, like, my best time. I think I did it in so 6 miles in an hour and 8 minutes. It was not my fastest.
But you were not feeling well. How did that? I mean, maybe not the best of times to do that, but it worked. Apparently, you didn't fall and faint or something.
I just said to myself, you know what? Look, I ain't weak sauce. I'm doing this. Like, I'm getting out there. I'm going for that run. Yeah. And you know, I called up. The guy was like, look, you know, because on their website it said that the cutoff date for registration was closed. So I called the number, and the guy was like, look, let me just, we're not already doing that, but I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna get you in, email me your details, you know. I emailed him my details. When I got there on the day, no one had my details, so that I was like, so what I do? A lady was like, this older lady, she was like, she was like, here's what, right? Just fill in the details here and we'll get started. So I started filling my details on this tablet, and the race is just about to start. Everyone's like all there, just like, you know, getting all in the mood. And I'm just there like as well, like, come on, finish this thing, let's go. So the cost of it is like, it was like, I thought it was 30 something. It turned out to be 28. And I'm there like, okay, so where do I pay? And she's like, oh, that guy over there, you need to pay him. So the race is about to start, and she's like, I don't think you're gonna have time. So how about you just do the race? I'm gonna trust you that you're gonna come back and pay after the race. Come and find me after. And I was like, all right, let's do this. So I run the race, and I'm telling you, we had to run up these steps. I think 170 something steps twice. So it was like that. That was part of the 6 mile, and these weren't like regular size steps. The steps were like long. You know, so you had to like make multiple steps in the step. And so it was, whew. But your boy did it. I got it done. And then when I finished, I went looking for this old lady. And when I found her, she was surprised to see me, because she's like, oh my God, you're so honest. And,
wow.
So I paid, and they had these beanies that were like for people who pre-registered, and I went over and I asked, hey, do I get a beanie? And the lady was like, oh no, these are for people who pre-registered. And then she was like, but because you're so honest, here's a beanie. So I got a beanie as well, and it was cool. It was the coolest thing ever. So I'm looking forward to their next race. This medal is a part of a set. So when you collect all three, they kind of connect together with these magnets here.
That's why, regarding the form of the,
it makes a full circle, but they're all little sort of like
full circle.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the next race. Your boy is ready. I think the next race is in August, so I can't wait. Ooh, so excited. It's another 6 mile. So yeah. Anyway, wow, I bumped into my table. Things are shaking. So that's generally, I don't think there's anything else that I need to share for the week. If I missed anything, I do apologize to anyone who may have been looking forward to something that I may have missed. I try to share as much as possible. My week has been really, and it's kind of like 2 weeks because we missed last week. So I tried as much as I could to share about what I've been up to. But yeah, that's kind of been it. Raj, what have you been up to?
Yeah. What have I been up to? That's a good question. I think I have forgotten everything, so we could just get into gaming or something. No, not right. No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's been pretty. Yeah, it's been, as you said, it's been good days and bad days. For me, when it comes to bad days, I think it's mainly because I have still this kind of injury and shit, so my arm doesn't feel that good, or my arms actually have feelings in my right one as well. I'm waiting for the next try when it comes to MR scan. That's going to happen on Monday. I hope it's going to go better this time, and things like that. But besides that, it's been like I can mention some nice things, even though it has to do with gaming, but I was in a playtest. I was invited in a playtest. It's an upcoming game on Steam that is called Ascendant. I'm gonna do this. I can just write it there. It's Yeah, it's a smaller studio, but they seem to be situated a bit here and there. The guy I was talking to when we did the playtest was one of the developers living in Texas, but they were spread out, so to speak. They're working a bit online, not in a physical studio all the time. It's like a loot shooter kind of a game. I think I've talked about a free-to-play shooter back in the days called The Cycle. That was colorful kind of a half loot extraction kind of shooter, and that was a bit like that. It was fun. It was fun. I mean, it was an older build, I think 3-4 months, sorry, not years, older than they have now. So the performance wasn't that great, to be honest. It was quite a struggle, to be honest. But the game it wasn't bad. It can definitely become something fun, to play with friends. It was like trios when it comes to the actual squads, if that makes sense. So it was like 4 teams out of 3 players. So yeah. It was me and some other content creators that was mixed together with a few people also from the developer team, and also their pool of interested people, if that makes sense, when it comes to their Discord. So yeah, we'll see if it's going to happen something more when it comes to this. We were supposed to give some feedback. I haven't heard from them yet. I have a few things to say though, and to say from my experiences, but yeah. So that was that.
It looks interesting, by the way. It kind of has like a is it 60s 80s vibe? Like it's got a puff. Yeah. They've got all the sort of like leather puffy jackets and the
it is a bit. It is a bit like that. Yeah, exactly. I played, of course, with a female character. That's what I do if they're there. And I looked a bit like that, a bit punkish, like with pink hair and things and leather jacket and kind of cool look, So yeah, it's a bit like that. I agree with what you just said there. So I gotta keep an eye on the game, if that makes sense, to see what happens later down the line. It might be something more I'll get involved with. I don't know yet. Besides that, I have been working on. I had 2 sales when it comes to music. One is on a Shinies library, which was good. It was on a higher tier, so I got a bit more money from that. That's always nice, because there are usually 5 tiers when it comes to the licenses people are buying, depending on what they're going to use it for and for how long and things like that. And I think this is up to broadcasting to 1 million people, so it's a bit more. Things like that. That's positive, because as I told, it's been a bit slow before. The whole stock music market for me has been quite slow during the first quarter of 2024. So we'll see. I'm moving on with that. But then we also get to what happened today. I was in good sync, with myself when it comes to my doings, both with YouTube videos and the music making and everything. And I think I told you guys that I live in the best of 2 worlds, so to say. Here I'm sitting by my PC, which now, yes, it has a better graphics card. Now also looking forward to upgrade the CPU. And if I look over there, that's the you can see one of the monitors actually when it comes to the speakers regarding my studio setup.
I can see
for the music making. So I have been using Mac for many years, making music in the DAW called Logic Pro, and even so, started up today, and I knew that the hard drive was more or less full. I should. It was, that happens. I have an external hard drive, of course, and also iCloud when it comes to like the cloud, and then the external hard drive when it comes to backup and stuff. But this is the thing. I have had problems before with my Apple ID a year ago. And I remember I was in a call with the support when it comes to Apple. And it's like the same thing as when I went the first time to doctor now. When it comes to my arm, first you get to a doctor that is, they take care of like everything. It could be someone coming with a cough or whatever have you. And they say, well, go home, take these pills and come back in 2 weeks. Okay, yeah, that did help, right? So you have to, on it again, right? And then after that, I came to the second doctor and got this, got later on to specialists, and I've done this neurologic, examination and all that, blah, blah, blah. So it's the same thing here. I had to talk to a guy that most likely talked with an older lady that can't even log into her computer or something. But this was worse, because what happened is I had to spend 40 minutes. He was nice, don't get me wrong. They are usually quite nice and good at the support there.
Mm-hmm.
But I just realized that he won't be able to help me, because what happened is the PC, no, not the PC, the Mac was so full, so the iCloud didn't sync any longer, and I couldn't make it sync. It just didn't want to sync. So I thought, what happens if I log out of my Apple ID and log back in again? I should not have done that, because the Mac said, no, you can't do that. Or actually I did, but I couldn't log in again. I couldn't log in. It was, so what I did is I went onto my PC and onto the web browser when it comes to my Apple ID, and no problem, worked well, the password, everything, but not on the actual Mac. So later on when I got to this, that's what I was doing this kind of comparison with. Then I got to the, well, I got to hook you up with the senior and she will talk to you. Her name is Maria. And, yeah. Bring her on, give her the phone. and then things started to happen, of course. But she had to think about what, because the thing is also when I'm not logged in with my Apple ID, I can't screen share. They can't see my screen. So it's like, do you have an iPhone? Is there any? No, I don't have any other iOS device. I use Android. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So she called back, and well, long story short, after some hassle and dazzle, it took a long time. Finally, it actually like synced, meaning I logged in again. I didn't change anything. It was just that we actually started up the Mac in how to save field circuit lag safe
safe mode.
Yeah. And we did that. Okay, so oh god. But the problem was still there afterwards. And I'm so used. I am decent when it comes to Mac, when it comes to the technical aspects, but I'm better when it comes to PC.
Yeah, same.
So like I can go into Finder and I can do well, that's on Mac, but the like files here on my PC, I want to take away this, no problem. But because I understood that I have to start to weigh certain things from my Mac to give some headroom when it comes to storage, even though I started to put over things also onto my external hard drive. But I could just not figure out how the frack can I got a catch-22 moment, because when I started to try to delete files, it said, well, if you're going to delete the file, you need to download it first. But I can't download it because iCloud is not syncing. So you see, it was like this.
Rock on a hard place kind of situation.
Yeah, exactly. So I finally got into program, like preference program, and there I could go into documents, and there I could actually delete the files. Then it took some time for iCloud to understand that, oh, it disappeared. Oh, we got some space. Oh, I can start to sync again, and finally start to sync. Sorry, guys, to talking so much about this technical mumbo jumbo, but it actually took the whole day for me. I couldn't do anything that I had planned. Fortunately, I went before the stream with my youngest son, Isaac, to the gym. I mean, I do also the rehabilitation movement and exercises and stuff, but also some normal gym stuff, what I can do now, at least with the injury. So that was really, really good for my mental health, because I've been so mad today. I've been so mad. Poor Isaac that was upstairs, on the upper floor. He must have heard me cursing so much. So I guess that's partly my experiences during the time we haven't been speaking and podcasting when it comes to last week as well. But besides that, yeah, we had a good time. So we've been doing a few things. We have been planning also. We're going to do the Midsummer Eve thing again with our friends, the tradition we have. So that's going to be nice. Going to see Maria again and her husband and all the friends that we have from the old days when we were studying at the music academy. So it's nice,
I wish I could be there. Honestly, wish I could be there. But for years we've been talking about this, and I've been saying to myself, one of these days I gotta be there for Midsummers, but it just hasn't happened yet. But
it will happen. We can start to think about maybe next summer. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. We'll see how it goes.
Because it is a cool thing. Because especially since my friends have these cabins, two quite big cabins. It's in the archipelago. It's very beautiful. The sauna is by the ocean. You sit in the sauna. You drink beer. You talk shit. and stuff. And then you go down in the water and like, oh, it's kind of cold. Yeah, but it's nice also. Yeah. And then you go back into the sauna, pop another beer, you talk shit. And then you go down into the water again. Oh, it's okay, bit cold. Yeah. Okay, it's time for cake. Oh, we're going to eat cake. Yeah, let's. Yeah, okay.
That sounds amazing. I've actually been drinking beer on the podcast this whole time. This is actually a Polish beer. It's actually a light beer. It's sort of like a cider. Alex got it for me. So it's like 4.5% alcohol. It's nice though.
Oh, good for you, sir. Good for you. Yeah. As you say, Miss A&R, annoyance max successfully reached. The max level was reached, and it went fast. Maybe, Miss A&R, it was a bit of my Polish gene or blood in me that started to boil. It could have been the heritage I have. But even so, no, that kind of tradition is really beautiful. I'm looking forward to that when it comes to Midsummer's Eve. But I guess that's that's my weeks.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And just to add a little bit to that before we jump in, I have had the exact same experience with Mac. Mac is it's very secure, but can be frustrating because of that security.
Exactly. Oh man.
It especially when it comes to like clearing up space on a Mac. Oh my god, it's like hell. So
yes, it is.
It's honestly one of the worst things.
I have to continue tomorrow.
I'm so sorry to me, bro. I am so sorry for you. Anyone who's got a Mac or who's getting a Mac, I just want to wish you the best of luck because it's wonderful when it's working fine, but the minute that it runs out of space, the thing just becomes a crazy thing, and it's hell to work with.
Yeah, it's a creepy thing.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk about some films. Raj, I think we've got some people waiting on the Acolyte. Let's jump straight into that. Let's talk about what we've been watching this week, and I'll leave the floor for you to start. Let's hear about the Acolyte. Spoiler away.
Whoa, let's spoil. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of spoiler. If anyone hasn't watched anything when it comes to Star Wars Acolyte and really want to, save your experiences when it comes to getting them yourself by watching, then don't listen to what I'm going to say. I got to start saying this. I read a review actually in the newspaper. We have the newspaper, like the old time fashion paper newspaper over the weekend because it's nice to sit there. Oh, look at that. Jolly good. Oh, a review of a film. Jolly good. So we sit there and me and Anneli, we talk about things that has happened in the world and in our little country, Sweden. Even so, it was a review of the Acolyte series. The dude said, "This is like a Glee musical."
A Glee musical. Like, wow.
Yeah, Glee. You know Glee?
Yeah, I know Glee.
Yeah. So I was like, really? But I kind of understood a bit what he meant when I started to see it. I don't want to be harsh, but the first 2 episodes, I have to be honest. I mean, we have discussed a bit where Disney has been taking certain, theories and concepts and I don't know, bro. This is also one of I was like, look at this now. We have a Jedi and it's Carrie Ann Moss, meaning Trinity. I had my little crush on Carrie Ann Moss, especially in the first Matrix movie. I'm like, ooh la la, let's go over here, baby. But she was there. She was okay. Spoiler, Acolyte. Spoiler. She was killed off after like. Did it take 15 minutes?
Oof, it happens.
And everything just died for me. It was like, no, that's not right. We don't do that. So, what was left? Nothing.
Nothing left to appreciate.
Glee was left. Glee.
Oh my god, that's horrible. That sounds absolutely horrendous.
I'm gonna say, I gotta be a bit serious also. I'm always ranting a bit, but yeah, it has its good moments, and then I'm laughing. That's horrible. But it's like as Isaac said, why are they like always dodging the old Republic? Why aren't we ever touching that or talk about it or have something about it? This is like I mean, the whole setting is also very, I understand that it was a time when it was a bit more wealthy, looked a bit better all together. But I don't know. I have a hard time to feel for the characters. I mean, I felt for Carrie Ann Moss being treated. The moment I saw her, yeah, girl, go. A girl, she's old like me. Okay, whatever. But then she's not there any longer. I don't know. What would like? Yeah, maybe it becomes even more interesting as time goes by. Meaning episode 3, 4. I don't know. You might be wondering, what is it about? Acolyte. Oh well. It's an investigation that starts here. It's like a shocking crime spree that pits a respected Jedi Master against a dangerous warrior from his past. As more clues emerge, they travel down a dark path where sinister forces reveal all is not what it seems. So there you have it. That's the kind of good part, that there is darkness there. There is something within, especially one of the characters here that we are about to see a lot, especially after who gets killed, Carrie Ann Moss. So that can be something promising. That can be something promising, especially who is behind this person's training and behavior, like the dark side thingy. That can become something. But I need to see more if that's gonna be good or happening.
How much are you giving this though on IMDb? Like, what's your rating?
It was interesting seeing it. It has a 4.2 on IMDb, and to be honest with you, I have.
Don't feel like you need to be gentle.
If Carrie Ann Moss would still be alive, I would give it a 6 at least. But no. They killed her off, so it's a 4.1. No, it's a 4.5. 4.5 so far. Close to 5 if I drink a beer.
That's that's a hard pass for me. It's just for everyone to know. It's as Roger said, IMDb has a 4.2. Rotten Tomatoes has at a 85% from the reviewers, but guess the user score.
It's low. It has to be low.
Guess. It's 85 by the reviewers. What do you think?
It's 62.
No, lower.
48.
No, lower.
31.
No, lower.
Really? Okay, let's go down then. 24.
It's lower. 23.
Oh God.
23%. That is bad.
That's very bad. Yeah, because I haven't watched the animated new Star Wars series either, and I'm looking forward to do that. Actually, Isaac was like this. He hasn't watched it. He was like, "You want to watch Acolyte with me?" No.
I'm sorry.
That was it.
Oh my God.
Are you sure? Yes.
Oh, he's like, nah, I've got precious life to be living right now. I can't be wasting time watching this.
Right, literally, that's he came by when I was watching the first episode and was like, "Oh, you're watching that?" Then he just went back. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't. If anyone in the stream or if you're watching afterwards, for that sake, if you really like this, I'm sorry. This is just my first impressions, and as I said, of course I'm going to continue to watch. I want to see how this plays out, and as mentioned, I want to see if they can bring up the nerve to the surface when it comes to this dark figures behind all this, and maybe resurrect Carrie Ann Moss.
Look, I'll be frank. I had 0% interest in watching The Acolyte when I saw. I think when I saw I can't even say I watched the trailer, to be honest. I think I saw like maybe a poster of it or something. And I was like, oh, they're making more Star Wars stuff. But I think the direction that Disney has been taking Star Wars has not been to my liking. So I've just not really been. And this is despite the fact that I've watched every movie from episode 1 all the way to I think 9. Is it 9 movies?
Yeah, right.
I've watched all the films, and I think after the last film and after seeing the stuff that came out after, I was just sort of like, I think I'm burnt out of Star Wars, and I'm just not gonna be watching any more of it for the foreseeable future. So when it came up that there was a Star Wars series coming on, I was just sort of like, All right, cool. I just there was no excitement for me for it, and I think that whereas in the past I was so excited for Star Wars films, whenever one was announced, I was just like, oh my god, it's gonna be amazing.
Same, exactly, yeah. But you know, bro, you're actually saying something that not only you have said, but a lot of people, and I think it's true. I think we are a bit burnt out when it comes to Star Wars. It has become, they have made a bit too much too often.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, I watched everything. I have even watched, you know, we talked about, you know, Ben Kenobi and Boba Fett and the Mandalorian and everything. Some of them are better than others. I mean, I enjoyed the Mandalorian, for example, but it just becomes too much, and they can't really. I don't know. It's it misses something also. Some of these series are, it's not, I don't know, it might be some grit or something. It's something that I miss from the original Star Wars once in a while, that really, the oomph that really, you know, you feel, Star Wars.
I think it's I think to a certain extent as well, it's the sort of like the modern Disneyfication of it that also sort of like you described, as sort of like the oomph. It just doesn't have that same flavor that and we've spoken about this with other films, you know, like a lot of modern films don't have the same effect like classic films, you know. They're just either like run gun explosions, blah blah blah, short films, whereas, you know, back in the day you had a build up, you had story, you had emotion, you had a lot behind films. Nowadays I feel like, you know, I watch films and I don't feel anything, you know. It's like I go in and I'm just like, all right, cool, I saw a film, you know, I was sitting there for like an hour, or I'm pulling my phone out to check something, when, you know, back in the day you'd be glued to the screen like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next, the horrors, you know. And nowadays it's just not that. It just doesn't feel that way. And I think more and more I'm becoming disenfranchised. Like this week, you know, Alex asked me to, you know, to go to the cinema, and she booked some tickets for us to go and so forth. And I kid you not, bro, I had no interest in being there. Like, and I didn't say this to her, but, you know, because I didn't end up going in the end. But I had zero interest, despite the fact that the film that she wanted to go to see was one that I was kind of interested in. It's sort of a thing that I was just thinking to myself, I could watch that at home. Like, if it turns out to be bad, I'll turn it off and I'll just go do something else, you know. And it's just sort of a thing, like, I think the cinema effect of going to some films, like, I have to know it's going to be good before I get in there. Like, to me, it's just like, this film better be good or I'm wasting time in the theaters. Because, you know, I've mentioned this to you before, I've mentioned this on the podcast, I've fallen asleep in films recently, you know? So...
And I mean, it could be a waste of money. Nowadays, it's also a bit more expensive and everything. And as you said, everything is more accessible also. And earlier, as it did compared to before, when it comes to when you can actually watch it from home if you want to. So... yeah, I feel you. I understand what you mean. But now you're making me curious. What have you guys been watching?
We've been watching different things. So I think so Alex has been watching Yellowstone. That much is true. I have not been watching Yellowstone. I know you and Annalie watch Yellowstone, but that's just not. It's not me. I've overheard Alex watching it, or like walked in while she's watching it. Sounds like a lot of drama for me. My life is a bit on the shaky side, in the sense of like a lot of stuff happening at the same time, a bit chaotic at the moment. I don't need any extra emotional drama in my mental state from watching telly. So I think when I used to watch a lot of drama shows was when I was younger, and I had you know, a much more stable sort of like lifestyle where things were just, you know, just moving in a structured way, and there wasn't any sort of like thing. But, you know, my family is it's things are constantly changing all the time, and I think because of that, it's, and especially like with the situation with work and all that kind of stuff, I don't need any extra in my head. So I've just not watched Yellowstone, despite the fact that in my mind I've been thinking maybe I should watch an episode or two with her, but I just felt to myself like, nah, I don't know if that's gonna work for me. But what I ended up watching was an anime called Delicious in Dungeon. And something that my missus did recommend to me, which I have to say shout out to her for recommending that to me, because it was amazing, which is Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling was absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10. Loved it. I finished it and then started reading the manga right after. It is so good. If you've not been watching Solo Leveling the anime, what are you waiting for? Get it on Crunchyroll, sit down, watch it in English. If English is fine. And then after you finish, start reading the manga. I think the manga starts from, or the webtoon, sorry, starts from chapter or episode 40 something, like 44, whatever have you.
Oh wow.
So I just continued, and I think right now where I'm at in the webtoon is probably like about chapter 100 and something. So I'm really fine.
Yeah.
And I think I've got like 80 something or 70 something chapters left.
Yeah.
So
where are you watching this? Is it Crunchy or
it's on Crunchyroll? So yeah, definitely. And I can't recommend enough how good a subscription Crunchyroll is, because I've been watching a lot more stuff on Crunchyroll these days. A lot of anime, to be honest.
How much do they cost? I'm just curious.
It's cheaper than Netflix. I think it's like, is it like £5 or something? Let me see. And Crunchyroll recently added like profiles, so you can have like up to 5 different profiles on there. So let me see Crunchyroll price, PRICE. Let me just verify before I just say this is the price.
Yeah.
So wow, it looks like the price has gone up, has it?
Yeah, that could be the case. Everything is more expensive now.
Yes. Okay, so the starting price is $4.99 a month in pounds. So £4.99
around 5, yeah.
Pounds. That's one device at a time. If you want to have up to 4 devices at a time streaming, it's $5.99. I think that's the plan we're on. Right, $5.99 for 4 devices, and then there's an annual plan where you pay 60 quid for the year. I think I may want to switch to that plan because that sounds amazing. 60 quid for a year, and you get a 16% discount on your monthly plan. You get access to their game vault and a catalog to their games, because apparently they have games. I didn't even know that. You get offline viewing, so you can download the episodes. That's also included in the regular mega plan, the one for $5.99. So essentially, you just get a discount. Essentially, you get a 16% discount if you pay for 12 months up front, which
exactly
60 quid, not bad. I'm behind that. So when you consider the cost of Crunchyroll, it's so much cheaper than Netflix and Disney Plus. It's like half their price, and you get access to anime when it comes out. So you get it straight when it comes out. You can just watch it. You have English and Japanese as well as other language support. So depending on your language options, some anime might have more than others. And a lot of the stories in anime are quite interesting, mature storylines, and for me, like some of the storylines I've been watching have been quite interesting. I think Alex can share a lot about her interest as well in there, because she's watched a lot of stuff on there as well. I think she's watched more than me. I think, generally, I think we even discussed about, sharing a bit more about what we're watching, her and I, because she, finding a way for her to share some of what she's watching, because she's watching a lot of more stuff than I do on there. So Solo Leveling, great on there. Feel free to check that out. The other thing, as I say, I was watching was Delicious in Dungeon. That is not on Crunchyroll for some reason, but it is on Netflix. And
okay.
Delicious in Dungeon is just really good. It's for those of you who've like not been following long enough, those who've been following us for years, you should probably know about this already, because I reviewed this as a manga like years ago on the site simplybinge.com. Feel free to go over and check it out. It's probably on there still. It's such to be on there. I didn't delete it. But essentially go on there and you can see my actual written review of that. But generally, Delicious in Dungeon has an anime, and I started watching it, and oh my god, it is amazing, and I'm loving it. The characters are adorable. It's just a really light-hearted anime. You could just sit down, you can relax. Really great. Whereas with Solo Leveling is action. It is gritty. It's something you would watch, Roger. It is so badass. Like you're watching it, and your blood is curdling. Like, holy shit, this is madness. The magnificence. It's just Solo Leveling is really cool. I have to say the action is there's some badassery in that shit. Like I've been reading it, I'm just like, oh my god, love alert. But with regards to Delicious in Dungeon, it's more the lighthearted side of me. It's comical, it's cute, it's adorable, and I like that. And that, I guess that's a bit of a like my personality, in the sense that it, different sides of me. There's the gritty kind of like macho man that runs races and stuff, and then there's the kind of me that's like sort of like jovial and will go up to someone and tickle them randomly and make weird faces at them, because I do that.
The mix, yeah.
It's quite an eclectic mix. My family members will tell you about how random I can be sometimes. But generally speaking, both great shows I can highly recommend on those services. Yeah, so feel free to check out Crunchyroll if you want great anime for a great price, and feel free to check out if you have Netflix, check out Delicious in Dungeon. It's a very good watch, very lighthearted, very relaxing. Rog,
Yep.
are we talking video games?
I think we're talking a bit of video games. Yes, for sure. We talked about the goodies when it comes to the old movies. I have gone back and played a bit of an older game. You see, this is the thing, why I did that also. It was not really intentional for us to make a video. I ended up doing that. It's up on my channel. But it was mainly because on Sunday I was streaming X Defiant with two other players. And we were a bit quite frustrated, all of us. And it was mainly due to the fact that, well, the game, I've said this before, it has a pretty bad net code. And you die a lot around corners. And it gets very frustrating when it's a fast-paced shooter and things like that. I mean, they are aware of this, but I've said it before. I'm a bit disappointed that this hasn't been addressed earlier. We are about 3 weeks in after release. I know they have changed the netcode maybe 2 times. I get that, but still. Even so, what I did, because I felt that I needed to cleanse my mind, right? I went back and played Titanfall 2 that was released 8 years ago now. 2016, and
Classic.
It was made by Respawn Entertainment, which later on, well, Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2, later on made Apex Legends. And in Apex Legends, you will definitely both use the kind of movement that they, invented to a certain extent, but also some of the weapons that you can find in Titanfall 2. And I freaking love that. I have always liked Titanfall 2. The good thing is that, but the bad thing is that some years ago, it was a bit slow on the vanilla servers. That's why North Star, I think, that was like they put something together so people could play on better, circumstances when it comes to servers. But Respawn fixed the servers quite well now, about a year ago. I think I made a video about that then when it comes to Titanfall 2. So that means that there has been more players now into the game. I think it has also to do with curious players coming from Apex, of course, also knowing that Respawn did this game, whatever. But Titanfall 2 is a really, really good shooter and game. I remember also enjoying, of course, the campaign. For sure. But the multiplayer is really good. It really suits me and my playstyle also when it comes to the movement and running on walls, using grapple hook to, get closer to the enemy, or grapple the enemy and then when it comes closer, you kick him. Things like that. And shooting while you're sliding. And it's really, it put a standard when this game came out. However, EA more or less killed the game, because what they did is that, we've talked about this before. Back then we talked about it. What happened during the fall, which is often the case, is that it was a new Call of Duty game released. That happens every year. Yeah, we've seen that. But this year also it was a new Battlefield game coming out. So 1 week before the release of Titanfall 2, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was released. 2 weeks after Titanfall 2, another EA game. Yeah, because EA is owning Respawn Entertainment, they are the publisher. Another EA game was released, and that was Battlefield 1, a big title. So what happened with Titanfall 2? Well, it kind of got squeezed in between there. And never really got, well, it was nominated for sure. I think it had 9 nominations and it was doing pretty okay, but it never really got the recognition that I think it was worth. And it's kind of a pity. I don't know. Everyone has said, why didn't EA release the game like in first quarter of 2017 instead? Maybe February, January for that sake. That would have been better for the game. But they needed to get something out, and they did, and that happened. But the game is good. The game is good, and it's nice to see that there are more players again now. I think it has been growing like I checked the stats and overall stats also, since it's not crossplay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like more players the last 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great. It's really, really a good shooter. If you want to experience that old good days, then do that. I mean, on Steam, I think the game costs around $30, something like that, but you can for sure get it for half price. Easy for PC, maybe even a bit less. And for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, maybe even less than that, I think. At least around 15. So, good game. Nice to come back. And yeah, I ended up doing a video because I was so happy to play it again, and I had a good time. Might go back and play it again for sure.
Sounds good.
It has been rumors, of course, of a Titanfall 3, but I mean, they are so busy taking care of Apex Legends. I think they have something else in the pipeline too. But there has been, you know how it is on X, for example, meaning Twitter. There are always some guys that are really deep into, I almost say undercover, but deep into, finding out news before they actually are out there for publicly. And there has been things pointing towards maybe a Titanfall 3 game. If that happens, I am going to be there day one for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. Titanfall is great.
Yeah, you did play. Did you play? You played Titanfall?
I played too. I did play too, and it was awesome. I think I remember. I can't remember if I had an early access to that, like review sample to that or something like that. But I remember playing it and loving it. I remember just thinking, "Oh my god, this is so cool." And yeah, I definitely, it's Titanfall 2, great game, loved it, super cool. This is years ago though, so like when we think about it, it's like, oh my god, it feels like it feels ancient times. But
yeah, as I said, it's already 8 years ago since it was released in 2016. Imagine
back in the cave days when
yeah it's woman, come here,
bonk, grab, trope, take back to caves. Generally,
sorry ladies,
such ancient times for us, but good times. I think I was talking to, I can't remember if I was talking to Alex or someone else about like reminiscing about like, back in the day, the early days, like with the site and all that kind of stuff, and just all the cool stuff that we did. And like stuff like that, it's still like in my head in that sense. So when I think about games like that from back in those times, it feels good. It's like good memories.
Yeah. What about you then? Yeah.
For me, the game on the screen is what I've been playing. For some people, you guys may be thinking it's eFootball. It's not. This is a game called UFL, which is actually an open beta I was playing for this. It's essentially what I would call a FIFA Ultimate Team clone. And the reason I'd say that is because the gameplay feels like FIFA.
It looks FIFA for me, just watching, to be honest.
Yeah, and as an eFootball player, it feels off. Like, I'm not good with I don't like how FIFA feels anymore. When I used to play FIFA back in the day, I used to like how it felt, but this feels like FIFA. And not just it feels like FIFA, the button inputs, the combinations, everything is very FIFA. You have the same sort of dribbling system, you have the same sort of passing system, the same tackling system, which I think the FIFA tackling system is nonsense, because you tackle and you shoot with the same button, your standing tackle. And what that does is it leads to a lot of accidental, for me at least, it leads to a lot of accidental punting the ball up the field. So I've not been, I didn't enjoy the demo. I think I played it maybe once or twice, and then I was just like, I was bored. I do want it to do well. I just don't see myself playing it. And the reason why I say that I want it to do well is because I think in the market that is, EA having FC now, because they're no longer FIFA, they don't have the FIFA license, and Konami having eFootball, no longer PES, and UFL coming out, and apparently 2K is going to be getting the FIFA license, so it's going to be these four, plus I think there's something else that's supposed to be coming out as well. I think by all of them being, like, this being successful will create competition and will force companies like Konami and EA and stuff to make better games. And that's kind of what I want.
That's true. That's a good situation, of course. Yeah.
So for me personally, I don't see myself playing it because I don't like FIFA, the way FIFA feels. So I don't see myself playing this per se. I do
When is it coming out? Do you know that release?
It's supposed to be this year. So this open beta was over last weekend. I played a bit of it. I don't remember or know when the full release is gonna happen, but I believe it's gonna happen sometime. Potentially, maybe the best time probably to do something like a full release of something like this would be just as a new season of football starts. I think that's in August. Because right now we've got the Euros going on. So I think just at the end of the Euros, when the new club season starts, is when I think something like this should launch. I think either that was it's starting in September. I don't know. But I would say the best time to launch a football game is usually just when the new season starts. I think Konami and EA tend to drop theirs, October, September kind of time. Like end of August, into September. So I would say that's probably when UFL should probably shoot for. Try to not shoot for exactly around the same time as Konami and EA, but try to get out there before them. And I think the beauty of UFL though is that it's free to play. So similar to eFootball, you don't have to pay for anything. It's it's got its own system in there. Apparently they're trying to go about the route where it's skill based and not a lot of like pay to win and stuff like that. They've obviously got their own shop and economy as to how they're trying to sell people players and all this sort of stuff. And I think the sort of like the sort of like ecosystem they're building, some people in the football gaming scene seem to be keen on it. Me personally, as I say, like I'm there for the gameplay, and if the gameplay is just not right, I'm not feeling it. And I think the gameplay for this just hasn't felt right to me. You guys can see me losing in these videos. I didn't win a damn game. I'm the team in red. But yeah, didn't win a game, and it's just because it. Not because I think the game is bad, is because it felt like playing FIFA, and I'm not good at FIFA anymore because FIFA, for those who play,
it differs.
It feels different. It does not feel like eFootball. It's a bit floaty. The players are sort of like detached from the ball in sort of like weird way. It's the dribbling system is different than E. So for me, it just felt weird playing it, and I just didn't have the best of time. But again, visually, it looks pretty. I like some of the things about it. There's a stadium in the game that looks amazing. It's like a Chinese stadium, I think, or Korean stadium. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And I have to say that there are some things that they're doing really well. You have a lot of players in there to choose from. You can build your own team just like in eFootball and FIFA. The players are all available via the in-game store that the game has, so you don't have to do randomized packs to try to get them. But there are these boosters and stuff that go onto the players. I think that's what you spin for essentially. And I think how those affect the players is that it sort of like allows them to get experience because you can level them up and then put certain like perks and stats on them to build your own version of that player, I guess, which is pretty cool. Similar to like eFootball, where you can build your own version of each player, make your own unique players in the game. But generally speaking, I look forward to UFL coming out, launching fully, and seeing what they're about. Maybe I might change my mind. Maybe when it fully launches, maybe it feels different. Maybe they had an option to sort of like use eFootball sort of like controls where I'm not pressing the B button or circle to defend, and it just isn't the same button that I'm pressing for that standing tackle and for shooting. If I can separate those two, I think that opens up a lot for me in my play style of the game. But I have to say, not a bad game, just probably not for me. And but I hope it's really good enough to like pull people away from EA to sort of force them to start making changes with regards to their game, and similarly pull people from PES for Konami to from eFootball, so that Konami is forced to also start making changes with their game and actually listening to what people want, because people have been saying to Konami, we want Master League, give us Master League, and Konami just sort of like ignored the fan base. So I think something like this existing and pulling away attention from their game, maybe it gets them to say, hey, you know what, let's make something that makes our version of this game different and get people back in, because there's a reason why certain people played eFootball. It's mostly been Master League type of people who want to build a team and create their own stuff. And I think Master League can exist alongside the regular eFootball sort of like online mode. And if they want to charge for that as a DLC, look, I'll pay for that. I'll happily pay for that.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of other eFootball players would as well. It's just Konami's just not done it. They've just been dragging their foot, and they did promise to do it. They just never kept their promise.
Yeah, right.
So hopefully games like UFL and 2K getting the FIFA license. I honestly hope 2K tries to eat Konami's. And I want to just say this: 2K is a company that when it comes to gameplay, some of the best sports games I've played have been 2K sports games. I think they do have really good gameplay. I do not like their monetization, like their online modes. I think that's crap. But the gameplay that they tend to put in the game tends to be really solid. And I say this as someone who's played, thought that one of the best baseball games was a 2K MLB 2K before Sony got the full licensing for that. So yeah, I'm excited to essentially jump into to have more competition in the space for sports games, and I hope it's not just football, but also other sports games, because you hear across the board from almost every fan base, from NFL fans, from hockey fans, from basketball fans, that there's just not enough competition, and there's a monopoly in the space with one developer or two developers just making trash over and over and over, and no one's happy with it. So hopefully we get more competition, and hopefully the competition stays competition and not get bought out, because in the case with 2K, they bought out a basketball game that was made by an indie studio it wasn't directly competing with them, but it was a fun basketball game, and 2K decided to buy it and then make it into their own monetization system, which is NBA 2K. I think it's called Playgrounds. 2K Playgrounds, yeah. So yeah, generally that's been the gaming for me. Haven't jumped on to Stellar Blade in a minute. I do want to get back to playing it, but just hasn't happened for me. And similarly, I haven't played much of anything else. I did, as I mentioned earlier, play some Trails on my Steam Deck, which was pretty nice.
Yeah.
I actually played that on the way back on my last day from the office. I was just like, I was on the train and I was playing Trails, and it was the one time that I actually pulled up my Steam Deck and actually played, and I was just like, yes, let's do this. So yeah, that's been the gaming for the week. Rog.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. Yeah. Well, I think we are reaching the end, aren't we?
We are.
Say, my friend. Yeah,
I think there's this is the end for us tonight. But we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week. Don't worry about it.
We will, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
As always, I want to start and say thank you very much for being here, taking your time to listen to me and Q talking about the life, the video games, and the TV and film and everything. I hope you have enjoyed, and would like to talk to you again next week, as said before here. With that said, take care, live long and prosper, almost like a Star Trek there. But yeah, stay healthy, my friends, and until next time, have a beautiful one. This was nice to be here again to talk with you for a minute or two. So, muffining out.
Beautiful as always. As you mentioned that reminds me that I did watch something else over the past 2 weeks, because he said live long and prosper, and that reminds me of Star Trek, and Star Trek reminds me of something I was watching, which is like a Star Trek sort of what I would call a satire version of Star Trek. It's called The Orville. I started watching that. I think is it on Disney Plus? I think it's on Disney Plus.
Could be. Yeah.
It stars the guy who does the voice of Peter Griffin from Family Guy. I think he writes Family Guy, if I'm correct. Seth something. Seth MacFarlane, is it? Anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny. And I can't remember how many episodes I watched. I watched a few.
I know what series you're talking about now.
The Orville. Yeah,
I have been thinking about. Yeah. Okay.
I watched it. I won't get into it now because we got to the end of the podcast. But I just wanted to mention it since you reminded me. Holy crap! I watched that. But yes, thank you very much for everyone who came and listened to the podcast or watched the podcast. Those of you who are watching in post, shout out to you guys, the post crew. You know who you are. Drop some comments in the chat. We will be definitely looking forward to replying to those. If you don't see a response immediately, don't feel disheartened. We will get to them inevitably. And those of you on the live, appreciate you guys. Please drop a like and share the podcast. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, however you're consuming this podcast, please share it with as many people as possible. And let's sort of see if we can build up our viewer numbers, and share this beautiful conversations that we're having and so forth. But yeah, with that, as always, you can find Rogers 40 Split Splash. It's number 40 with SPL ISH, SPL ASH. He streams on a Tuesday and a Sunday. That's correct, Raj?
That is correct.
Ooh, I love it. You can find those who are watching it. You can actually see it's printed on the screen. You can find me at LP Gardens, Gardens.eu. Pretty much everywhere else. It's LPGRDIN. Also on the screen. I am not streaming anything at the moment. I did stream last week, but I don't know if I'll stream again this week. I do plan to put out content though. I've been working on a thumbnail for something cool. I like working on thumbnails actually. But anyway, I've been working on a thumbnail for something interesting. It's still Blade related, just for spoilers. Maybe I'll share it in my Discord and some of you guys might see it. But yeah, generally speaking, you can find us at Simply Binge or at Simply Binge UK pretty much everywhere else. And as always, we wouldn't like guys to miss out on any of the episodes of That Beautiful Life podcast. Many beautiful people like to subscribe to this podcast on Castbox, Acast, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, simplybinge.com and elsewhere. And we're so confident like that we're giving it for free. So as always, guys, this has been queued for your pleasure. And it's a wrap. That's the episode. Whew.
It is. Yep.
You know what? I like the way I look into it. So next, I think I'm buying more of these. I think I look great on camera.
Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. It actually, yes, it does. It's classy. It's also a bit of a touch of, I almost was thinking about like, in the 60s and everything when, with the high neck, it is cool. It is cool. I mean, that, mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry. I just, a thing that almost was like, now it was a thing when I joined Cremota, everyone knew that when they were playing a concert, they were having those kind of black. What are these called? What do you call them?
This is a turtleneck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they were having these black turtleneck, things, and that became like almost like a trademark. I think later on we became almost a bit more formal. We usually had like black shirts instead, and like a jacket.
Mm-hmm.
More, looked a bit more classy, but that was definitely the thing. So I was thinking, when I saw that, it's like, it's good. No, it looks good on you too. This is a good color. So
I was feeling my Steve Jobs side. Steve Jobs used to wear turtlenecks.
Of course, of course.
So that's the thing. But
that's
yeah,
the thing.
Maybe I'll buy a few more. Maybe I'll get a few more of these. I think they feel nice. I mean, maybe I won't wear it now because we're going into summer. It's going to get hotter and hotter, and it's going to be uncomfortable. But right now, it's not too bad. I'm inside the house. It's
but some days it's good to have. Especially, I don't know how you guys have had it, but here the temperature has gone down certain days. It's been only like 12, 13 degrees,
Mm-hmm.
And a bit windy. Then that kind of, turtleneck can be really nice to have when you go out. So
yeah, it's been up and down. Honestly, it's definitely spring weather. It's been random.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my friend.
I think we need to get out of here.
Yeah, we need to get out. I also need to visit the men's room and powder my nose, I think.
I need to do the same. Yeah, it's nice outside. Honestly, one of the things I need to figure out, how do I get my camera not to just pick up all this bright light in the background and it actually just sort of like have a nice effect. Maybe someone will share in the chat as how I can fix that, because that really bothers me. Like when we're...
Don't you have like a curtain? Can't you just close those and it's gonna be less, or if it becomes too dark? I don't know. If you have a bit more light now on you, it would be perfect.
Hey Google,
more or less.
Light on.
I guess, yeah. And look at that. That looks pretty good, I think. Yeah. Because for me, when I'm not having OBS Studio and my settings, I am a bit too bright, to be honest. But that's because I'm close to the lamps and I usually use the green screen in my OBS setting. Yeah,
I think that's better.
Yeah, I think this is better, but well,
I see people walking into. I think it's better. I can actually see my face without all the shine just hitting it. I think the curtain is sort of diffusing the light that's coming from the side of me. So I think next week what I'll do is I'll also pull the curtain before we start, and I'll keep the light on just to sort of like give me a better look. So yeah. Anyway, we're out of here, people. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Hope you guys have a great one. La-di-da, swiddle, swiddle.
Ciao.
See you on the flip side.